Joining us now, member of the Foreign Relations Committee, Democratic Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia. Help us.
Good to be
How
here.
are you?
I've got something that's going to unify all of us.
I love it. Do it.
So in the last bit, you were back and forth about presidential leadership. But
just a tad bit.
But you can all agree that Congress has been out to lunch on ISIL. I mean, we're in the 17th month of a war. The anniversaries passed last week. Congress hasn't had a debate or a vote about whether we should be at war. Now, constitutionally, we're not supposed to be in a war without a vote of Congress. And what Congress has really liked to do during this war is criticize the president, but not vote to authorize, not vote to stop, not vote to amend.
So why are they not authorizing this war? I mean, they go back and say that they have the authorization under the 2001 authorization, but isn't ISIS a big enough threat that ISIS deserves its own declaration?
The 2001 authorization says the president has the power to go after the perpetrators of the 9/11 attack. ISIS started 2 years after 9/11. So a RAND Corporation study last week came out and said, at best, it takes legal gymnastics to use that authorization to cover it. But, Joe, beyond that, 2/3 of us weren't here when that vote was cast. So we haven't debated and said to our troops, 3,600 overseas at the holidays, 11 have lost their lives already, 11 American service members in connection with this mission.
So
we haven't put the message behind it.
Tell me why.
Sadly, I think you know the answer. No backbone. People do not want to go on the board and vote yes or no on this. They would rather to blame the president and just snipe at it and not take the step that a vote is going to make you be accountable to people.
Talk about the no-fly list. We hear the complaints. First of all, how did you vote on that?
I think it's a very good idea to add that to one of the 9 prohibited classes of people who cannot get weapons under federal law. You add that 10th class if you're on the no-fly list.
So why can't that no-fly list be up to make sure people's due process is taken care of, and then you make sure that people on the terror watch list can't buy a gun?
It's so simple. I mean, I don't know what the polling is, but I bet it'd be 95%.
It's got to be.
So it's a kind of a tug of war right now. I actually think we probably will get to a place where we tighten up the no-fly list. But you've got the NRA, and a lot of folks are just going to respond to what they say, saying don't do it at all because it is a gun restriction, and we don't want any gun restrictions. But it's common sense. That and background record checks are the two things we should be able to do.
The next shooting when somebody's on that terror watch list.
Joe, my worry all along is we will eventually do the right thing, but we'll do the right thing because of the accumulating weight of tragedies.
Exactly.
The next gun crime or the next terrorist incident. Why will Congress vote to authorize a war against ISIL? John McCain was asked, why hasn't Congress voted to authorize war against ISIL, and what will it take? And he said, now he said this disapprovingly, but he said it's probably going to take an attack on the homeland before Congress acts. Why do we wait for the tragedy to act?
Yeah.
We're supposed to be doing this and send the message to our troops that we're behind them. That's the biggest, moral deficit in this whole thing. You order people to risk their lives, but, I don't want to have a debate and vote about something that's controversial.
Right.
We live under the thumb rule here nearly every day. Nothing works. Our cell phones don't work. We can't get signal. But the big item here, the United States Senate, nothing works.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna come back to you on that. Since June 1. We rewrote No Child Left Behind. That was hard and it was complicated. We set up a process to review the Iran deal, and we did. Very controversial, but we set it up. We got a 2-year budget deal. We got a cyber bill. We're going to get an appropriations bill here at week's end. So there is actually some motion on some things, but not near enough. We're kicking the can down the road.
Do you believe we are involved right now in this war against Daesh, ISIL, whatever you want to call it, a war?
I think it's going to take a very long time. Right. So,
where's the courage here in labeling it and voting on it?
We got to do it. I think, part of, the moral responsibility is stand up to evil and name it. Here's what we've done. For 17 months, we haven't had a debate about ISIL. It only took the House 2 days to pass a law calling Syrian and Iraqi refugees foreign enemies. The title of the law was Securing America Against Foreign Enemies. We call refugees from ISIL an enemy, and we don't have the guts to call ISIL an enemy? You got to be kidding me.
The President laid out 4 points in his speech last week from the Oval Office about what he's doing to fight ISIS, why he believes it's working. Do you think we need to do more?
Yeah, I think we got to do more, and I'd look at it a little differently. There's 3 interlocking problems: the war against ISIL, the greatest humanitarian crisis since World War II in Syria and the Syrian civil war. They all connect, and in each one, you've got to do a little bit more. So in ISIL, let's start with Congress authorizing it and showing the American resolve. The Duma in Russia, the Parliament in England, the National Assembly in France, the Bundestag in Germany have all debated and voted to go after ISIL. So we got to do that. On the humanitarian crisis, we made a mistake by not doing the no-fly zone in northern Syria. We could have done it 2 years ago when we probably would have stopped about 2 million people from leaving. We can still do it, and it will still have an effect. And on the civil war, that's going to be the key. And at least the parties are back around the table in Vienna, and we got to really push that, because this will continue to be a problem. It's going to be a problem anyway, but it'll always be a problem as long as that civil war is going on.
Senator Tim Kaine, thank you very much.
Great to see you
Bringing
today.
a little joy to the table. Isn't
Thank
he
you
nice?
so much.
We love him.
You can unify against Congress, guys. I brought you together.
I love that. Thank you.
Coming up, Marco.